when I think about a yes man, a people pleaser. And it's called the they owe me syndrome. They owe me. Those people owe me. When you feel like the world owes you something, you live in a purgatory, a self-made jail of anger and resentment because you're thinking to yourself, man, I did all this for all those people and they never recognized how nice I was, how good of a person I was. They owe me. That is a hell that you're living in when you think people owe you and motherfuckers don't even know you exist. They don't even know what you did for them was a silent contract. That agreeable contract that you only signed, it had 2 lines, you and them. You signed it. They didn't even know they were under an embargo. So they don't owe you a motherfucking thing. Nobody really owes you anything. So you gotta clear yourself of that. Nobody owes you anything if they didn't agree to it. If you made a contract with yourself, that's on you.
Just, that is incredible. You have to relieve yourself of that thought process because if you live with that mentality, especially once you apply it in the dating world, then you know what happens? You end up becoming the guy that says, oh man, women only want toxic men. Oh man, dating is broken. The dating apps don't work. Good guys finish last is the famous quote that gets thrown around by these guys. And you live in that victim mentality of like, why am I not getting what I expect to receive by being a good guy?
Yeah. There's a phrase that I wanted to share with our community that it's Spanish and we'll figure out a way to translate it. Maybe you know how to translate it, Rich. My mom taught me this about people that lend you money or do you favors, and it's called sacando en cara. What is the translation? It means like coming out of your face.
Yeah, it means like throwing it in your, like you do a favor for someone and when you say no, you throw it in their face and remind them that you did a favor for them in the past.
So we have a mutual friend. And when we worked at Whole Foods, Rich and I worked at Whole Foods together. We were really young. I will not say their name, but they will know who they are when I share this story. This was the prime example of sacando en cara, throwing it back in my face, because they did something for me. And I didn't even know that they wanted something back. But when they asked me for the favor, they were frustrated with me. And I was so confused. I didn't realize I was in an agreement. When we worked at Whole Foods, I drove a shitty Toyota Camry that was literally working 4 days a week. I worked 5 days a week. My Camry worked 4 days a week. So occasionally this shit wouldn't start. And Rich and I worked in Jersey. So on snow days, it was difficult. So having a reliable friend with a brand new car that can get to and from work was a good friend to have. So we both had a friend, I won't say his name, but he had an artist that he was working with that he wanted to get on our radio show. And if people don't know, Rich and I started our own media company when we were younger with a few of our friends. And he kept asking, can I get this person on the show at work? And I kept telling him, no, we want to hold a standard for the type of guest we have. Unfortunately, your friend doesn't meet that criteria. So anyway, time goes by. Obviously, he's very persistent, this guy in the story. And my car broke down. So when my car broke down, I was taking the bus to work. And I was taking the bus. It's like an hour and a half. You got to take 2 different buses to get to our job. And when our mutual friend, I almost said his name, found out that I was taking the bus, he was so happy to help me out. He was like, yo, I'm coming from 20 minutes away, but I have no problem coming to pick you up. So I thought, all right, this is my guy. Like, he's a friend of mine. He wants to do me this favor. Rich, this motherfucker picked me up, and in our 40-minute commute to work, he played all the music of the artist that he wanted to get on our show. He didn't even speak to me when I got in the car. He was like, yo, this is the shit that I was telling you about. Bro, he basically trapped me in his car to play me music of someone that I had no interest in bringing to our show. And that was the exchange. I had to sit there and listen to a pitch meeting about something that I said no in order to get a fucking ride to work. By the second day of donating myself to this self-made hell that I was living in, I told him after the second day, like, yo, I'm good. I'm gonna take the bus tomorrow. You don't gotta come pick me up. He was like, bro, why won't you let me come pick you up? And then he was like, yo, I forgot to mention, my boy's gonna be in town next week because he lived in Florida. Can you get him on the show? I was like, yo, well, we already had this conversation. He's like, bro, that's fucked up, bro. I've been giving you rides every day and you're gonna, I'm like, oh shit. I was like the Wire meme where the dude's like, oh shit. I put the math together real quick. This motherfucker was being nice because he wanted me to get his artist on my show. He had zero intentions of being a good person. He just wanted to get something out of the deal. And I'm not mad at him. I don't knock nobody's hustle. But the sacando en cara, that's the part that's fucked up. If I don't give you what you wanted out of the deal, you throw it back in my face. That is a big issue with this type of person in this episode, because that's where the resentment comes from. And that's where that nastiness comes from, where guys don't get what they want out of the deal. And then they do a 180 and they turn into the wolf. They take the sheep mask off and they turn back into the wolf. And they're like, fuck you. You didn't give me what I wanted. Now you're the enemy. That is nasty work. That right there is another layer of, it's the evolution of the nice guy. That's like when you're in your 30s and you kind of learned how to trick people into falling into your trap. I'm not attacking these guys. I'm just saying, you're not low. And there is a Spanish phrase for your actions. Sacando en cara. You do shit to get shit. And then when you don't get it, you throw it in people's face. That's not good, bro.
Yeah, you're the type of person who gives to get, right? And I have a quick story just that you made me think of, but late in my 20s, I started working out, started to understand how to better my physical fitness and learning different exercises. And I had a coworker who had owned a CrossFit gym. He had just closed it down, but he had built a gym in his garage. And he's like, yo, we grew up together. You're the homie. Like, why don't you come to my garage two, 3 times a week, and I'll show you like different exercises and different drills that you could do on your own. Cool. I'm like, why wouldn't I take him up on that offer? He was a friend. He obviously owned the gym and he was very knowledgeable. So I took advantage of that. Bro, I did this with him for about a month. On month 2, he needed help painting his home inside. And he texted a group chat with a couple guys like, hey, is anybody available to help me paint the house, right?
Bro, that's what I don't wait at airports. I don't help people move, and I don't paint motherfuckers' houses. Hell no. That's fucked up that he did that.
Bro, so we all say no. He hits me on the side. He's like, bro, you're really not available this week to help me paint? I said, no, I'm not. And his literal response to me was like, damn, bro, after all the free gym sessions I gave you at the crib, bro. Needless to say, that was the last time I ever went back to his home to work out or asked him for anything ever. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the friendship died that day because he was giving to get. And I didn't know that at the time. But that is very predatory when you are the type of man that only gives in order to receive. And like we stated earlier, it's ungenuine of you to operate like that as a young man.